Yo, what is good on my fellow monsters and hunters of share? Godsend Killer here, bringing you guys some more Evolve. And on today's video, we're going to be discussing Gorgon and how to step your game up with her. Now, when I do live commentary videos with Gorgon and I share a little bit of knowledge, some people seem to really appreciate me sharing some knowledge of what she can actually do. So I figure I'd make a whole video just talking about ways you should try to engage battle with Gorgon and just overall tips in general about her. So if that sounds interesting to you, please do stay around and watch the whole video. But if not, I do appreciate you guys, taking the time to actually click on the video to see what this is all about. But anyways, let's get right to business. Now, the first thing I wanted to talk about Gorgon is which setup should you pick first? Now, when you're at stage 1, you're about to start a match, which moves should you pick? Now, of course, this is going to be very opinionated because some people are going to prefer some moves over others, but in my opinion, I feel that 2 points into Spider Trap and 1 into Acid is definitely the way to go. And my reasons for this is, for one, it's good for killing wildlife. Now, this includes smaller wildlife and perk wildlife like damage reduction, damage bonus, and all that. If you only have, say, like Acid or only web snare with spider trap or something, you're not going to be able to kill it fast enough. Gorgon just does not have the damage output by itself. You have to combo your abilities, and that's what we're going to talk about later on in this video. But those 2 moves in the beginning can definitely help you kill wildlife faster. 2, web snare kind of needs the extra point more than Acid does. Now, you could go opposite route and pick 2 points into Acid and 1 to web snare, but after playing Gorgon for a while, I've really realized that Acid is pretty decent at 1 point. It has good ranging and still do pretty decent damage, whereas web snare is a good combo starter or a good combo follow-up, but if it's pretty small at stage 1, so you're going to definitely miss a lot if your accuracy is not up. So 2 points is definitely more better on web snare than it is on Acid in the early game. And the last reason why I recommend this setup at the beginning is because you had to assume that the hunters are going to be able to track you down and dome you. And sometimes you're not going to get a pretty dome. You're not going to get a dome sometimes where you're going to be able to hide around places and have a lot of cover. It's going to be tight and you're going to take a lot of damage. So you're going to want to have moves that you can easily defend yourself with. And Spider Trap and Mimic are very situational where, web snare and acid are pretty easy of use, and it's Gorgon's bread and butter essentially. You can combo it to do good damage. So you don't want to get caught with your pants down. This is why I recommend this setup. But if this setup doesn't tickle your fancy and you're more of a stealthier type of monster, you can add Mimic to the mix. Now, what's cool about Mimic, as you can see right here on the screen, is that Mimic can actually leave identical tracks like the real Gorgon would, and can even trigger birds, so you can purposely mislead the hunters. Now, this is really good off in the early game. I can't say how much this would actually affect when you're at like stage 2 and whatnot, but in the early game it can definitely throw the hunters off. But the problem with this is that if you do get caught in the dome, it's going to be harder to defend yourself with, because Mimic is a very situational move. You have to be around corners so they don't shoot your real body while you're using it, and it has low health. So it's very situational, and unless the hunters are playing really passive, you're not going to be able to really do big damage with the Mimic. But if you're just trying to play it really stealth-like and mislead the hunters, Mimic can be really cool for situations like that. But anyways, now that I'm done discussing which setup you should use in the beginning, let's talk about how you should actually engage combat with Gorgon. Now, Gorgon is a monster that requires a little bit more finesse. You can't play her as if you're playing Goliath or Wraith, because you're just going to get your big Gorgon butt handed to you. You have to remember these 3 important things: ambushing, comboing her moves together, and using your tools and using them properly. Now, when I say tools, I obviously mean her abilities and her wall pounce. So you have to remember to use all these things and know what they can actually do and when are the right time to use them. Like, don't just simply throw out a spider trap right in front of the hunters where they can see where you're landed at, because obviously they're going to dodge it. And just don't use a mimic right in front of the hunters, because they're going to shoot you and stop it. But here's a good example of comboing and ambushing. Now, I'm waiting for one of them to make a mistake, and Sunny made a mistake right here. So I threw our web snare right into spider trap. hit her with the acid, one heavy melee attack, and that's it right there. She's already done for. Now, of course, you have to kind of work for it to get that heavy damage, but considering that Gorgon is a dot monster, meaning damage over time for the most part, I just killed her relatively fast. I was super fast. All I had to do was pretty much have a ambush and, just combo my abilities together, and she was already done. Now here's the other example. I'm using a wall hang right here, or the wall cling, whatever you like to call it, and I'm just waiting for the hunters to pass by. Originally I was gonna go for Maggie right here, but she was a little bit too far ahead, and then I see Sunny has a strike, so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get her. So I jump off the wall, hit her with an acid, sit there and knock her back with a web snare, one melee attack, or I believe it was two, and she is done for. Look at that already. I believe I actually made the person rage quit after that. Yep, right there. There you freaking go. I would be pretty upset too. But see, it's just as simple as that. When you use your tools properly and you combo and you ambush, you can put the hunters down really fast. One thing to note, Gorgon is going to be pretty good for players that can adapt to situations pretty fast. Not only adapt to situations, but to be able to think ahead. Like if you're only narrow-minded, and I mean that like not in an offensive way, but if you're not really thinking ahead, then Gorgon may not be the player for you, monster for you, I should say, because you need to kind of have a little bit of forward thinking. Or just a little bit of dumb luck. Now look at this. The spider trap was already laid there in the fence. I got this movement speed. Saw that spider trap caught Maggie. Went right back up there. Hit her with an acid. And she was done for. Now other cool way you can start off a good ambush other than a spider trap is with Mimic. Now a lot of people don't know this. At least I'm convinced that a lot of people don't know this because I don't see it being done at all. As a matter of fact, I think I'm the only one I've seen done this. Is that Mimic can actually hang on to walls. Check this out. Now it can't wall pounce, but you can start an ambush like that. Like they don't see the Mimic hanging onto a wall. You can set up the explosion and get some free damage off like that. Another cool thing to know about Mimic is that Mimic can actually melee. So instead of just like rushing in and like blowing up the Mimic instantly, if you can get a few melee hits with the Mimic, you can get more damage off like that, because the only thing they can do is either try to run away or just try to kill it. And if they do kill it and the Mimic is right next to them, they're going to take the explosive damage. So those are just some cool notes to know about Mimic. And Spider Trap and Mimic, of course, can be good ambush starters, but I would say that all her moves are pretty great for ambushing. But anyways, guys, what I want you to take home from this video is pretty much remember to ambush. Remember to combo your abilities, know what your tools are, and how to properly use them. If you can remember these things, guys, I believe your Gorgon game is going to be stepped up. How much would it be stepped up? Well, that just depends on you guys. If you can actually adapt to a situation pretty fast and have a little bit of forward thinking, then I think that this video is going to help you a little bit. And I hope it does. If you enjoyed this video, guys, please do leave a thumbs up. It always does help. And if you're a new viewer, do subscribe for some more involved. But until next video, you guys take it easy. Laters.